A burst of static shattered the silence as televisions, radios, and phones across the world crackled to life with one chilling sentence. "They're already here." The voice was not human, not mechanical, but something else, something ancient and impossible to place. Time seemed to hold its breath. For a heartbeat, nothing moved. Then, the world erupted. City streets filled with panicked cries and confusion. News anchors froze mid-sentence, staring at their earpieces as alien noise flooded the airwaves. A wave of fear surged through the population like electricity, arcing through metal. Somewhere in a small apartment, 29-year-old Ethan Cole recoiled, clutching his head as the transmission became more than sound. It became sensation. He wasn't just hearing the message. He was feeling it in his bones, in his blood. "We've been waiting for you," the voice echoed again, this time inside his mind. Ethan staggered back, staring at his TV, which showed nothing but a swirling mass of symbols. He wasn't imagining it. This was real. And it had only just begun. The buildings outside his window flickered with power surges. Sirens wailed in the distance. He whispered, "What the hell is happening?" But deep down he already knew. The world had changed forever. The news tried to regain control, but their voices were drowned beneath the alien transmission that wouldn't stop. The symbols weren't just visual. They echoed inside people's minds. Scientists called it cognitive resonance. Ethan called it a nightmare. Somewhere deep inside the signal was something intelligent, something deliberate. He knew it. He could feel it probing him, learning him. "They're speaking through us," a voice on the radio whispered before the station cut out. Ethan watched as his phone, still clutched in his hand, lit up with strange glyphs in place of numbers. It wasn't a virus. It was a language. And somehow he could almost understand it. Panic rose in his throat, but a deeper emotion clawed beneath it: recognition. He didn't know why, but it felt like the message was meant for him. Outside, military vehicles began to roll into the streets. Ethan's eyes stayed on the glyphs. "Why me?" he muttered. But there was no answer. Only silence. And then, the lights went out. Downstairs, the streets were no longer filled with fear. They were filled with silence. Everyone had stopped moving. Some stood mid-step, eyes blank, locked onto invisible targets in the sky. Ethan pushed open the door to the street and instantly felt it. A pressure in the air. A low hum beneath his skin. A girl nearby whispered, "They're in our heads." Her words didn't feel like speech. They felt like an echo. Drones appeared, not from the sky but from the ground. Hovering black machines emerging from storm drains, their lenses scanning silently. Ethan ducked behind a car, his breath sharp and shallow. He wasn't ready for this. No one was. He watched as one of the drones pulsed with green light, and the girl collapsed, eyes still open, murmuring the same glyphs that haunted his screen. Ethan turned and ran. This wasn't just an invasion. It was an occupation, and they'd already begun rewriting humanity's mind. Inside a hastily assembled command center miles away, military officials shouted into radios, demanding answers. But their equipment was failing, jamming, melting down under frequencies they couldn't trace. "This isn't an attack, it's a takeover," one general said grimly. Meanwhile, satellites showed something terrifying. The symbols weren't random. They were forming patterns across the globe, entire city grids lighting up in synchrony. Ethan, miles away, had found temporary safety in an alley. He stared at the stars, but they were gone, replaced by a dome of shifting green light. The sky was no longer the sky. A voice in his head whispered, "It's time." It was the same voice as before, but this time it was warm, familiar, chill, like a memory he'd never had. And that terrified him more than anything else. Sirens had faded. Broadcasts had gone dark. Humanity had lost its voice. And in that silence, the message repeated. Not through devices now, but through dreams. Ethan collapsed in an abandoned stairwell, body trembling. His eyes fluttered as he slipped into unconsciousness. The alien voice spoke again, but this time it wasn't words. It was images. A world, scorched and silent. A starship falling through Earth's sky. A child, his face, standing at the center of it all. Ethan awoke with a gasp. Something had changed. Not outside, but inside him. He could feel it, like a key had turned. And in the echo of the dream, one sentence rang clear. "You are the threshold." Ethan woke with a jolt, soaked in cold sweat, his breath hitching like he'd run miles. Dawn crept over the city, but the light brought no comfort. Silence lingered in the air like a held breath. The world felt, paused, as if waiting for something. Ethan stepped outside the stairwell and stared at the street. Abandoned vehicles, flickering traffic signals, doors ajar. Not a soul in sight. He walked slowly, the silence screaming in his ears. Then came the sound. A whisper, faint but unmistakable. His name. Ethan. He spun around. No one there. But he felt it again. That mental tug. That sensation behind the eyes. The voice returned, low and deep. "You were never meant to forget." A wave of images flooded his thoughts. Unfamiliar stars, ruins beneath oceans. His own face bathed in alien light. His knees buckled, but he stayed standing. He whispered, "What am I?" But the voice had vanished again. Only the quiet remained. Somewhere, something inside him had begun to awaken. And it was terrifying. A memory that wasn't a memory surged through Ethan's mind. He saw himself, standing in a place he didn't recognize, speaking a language he didn't know, but understanding every word. His heart pounded. None of this made sense. And yet, it all felt true. He stumbled into a nearby building, searching for a mirror. When he found one, he didn't recognize the man staring back. His features were the same, but something behind his eyes had shifted. There was depth now, like looking into a void that had just opened. As he touched the mirror, a brief static shock made him flinch. And then, flashes again. He saw a towering structure under the ocean, a symbol glowing on its peak. That same symbol had appeared in the alien broadcast. Ethan gasped, backing away. His breath clouded the mirror. Behind him, a silhouette moved. He turned fast, but no one was there. Or so he thought. Something was watching. And whatever it was, it knew him. The mirror shattered. Not from touch, but from sound. A deep bass tone filled the room, vibrating the walls. Ethan ducked instinctively as the glass exploded outward. From behind, a shadow stepped forward, human in shape, but wrong in movement. Its face flickered. For a moment, it wore Ethan's own features. Then they shifted into a woman's. Then, a child's. It spoke without opening its mouth. "You are the key." Ethan screamed and bolted from the building, heart racing, lungs burning. Outside, the fog had thickened. But the city wasn't empty anymore. Dozens of people stood in rows, silent, unmoving, eyes glowing faint green. Drones hovered overhead, scanning. Ethan froze behind a delivery truck, trying not to breathe. A sudden shriek erupted from a rooftop speaker. "Compliance is peace," he whispered. This is a nightmare, but a deeper part of him already knew. It wasn't a dream. It was a return. And he was no longer sure if he belonged to this world at all. He ran. Not out of fear, but instinct. His legs carried him through alleys and under collapsed scaffolding until he reached a place from his childhood, his father's old machine shop. Dust covered every surface, but something pulled him here. In the back, behind the rusted tools and silent machinery, was a hidden door Ethan had never opened. Until now. He pressed his hand against it, and it clicked open as if it recognized him. Inside was a chamber, cold and humming faintly. On a pedestal lay a strange object, oval-shaped, metallic, pulsing with green light. As his fingers touched it, the device unfolded into a map. Not of Earth. Of something else. The stars shifted, aligning to a central point. His voice cracked as he whispered, "It's real." Then a soft voice behind him said, "I was hoping you'd remember." Ethan spun to see a woman, early 50s, short gray curls, eyes like his. "Mom," he said. But she had died 10 years ago. Or so he thought. She stepped forward, every motion slow, careful, like approaching a wild animal. "You weren't supposed to find this yet," she said, her voice both loving and sorrowful. Ethan backed away, eyes darting between her and the device. "You died," he said. I saw it." She nodded. "That part was true. But I didn't stay dead." The words made no sense, but her presence felt real, undeniably so. She stepped beside the map and tapped a glowing point. A three-dimensional image burst forth, a fleet of ships, a shattered planet, and a child's face. "Ethan's. You are part of something older than this planet," she said. "And they're coming to finish what they started." Ethan fell silent. The world he knew was gone. The war hadn't just begun. It had resumed. And this time, he wasn't just a witness. He was the reason. And the cost of his ignorance was about to be paid, in blood. Ethan stared at the woman who claimed to be his mother. Her eyes were the same, but colder now, like they had seen too much. "You were bred for this," she said. "Our family was chosen." The words stabbed deep. "By who?" Ethan asked. "By them," she answered. She touched the map again and it transformed, showing Earth from orbit, overlain with red markers, all clustered in major cities. "They've been here longer than we knew," she whispered. "Since before we stood upright." Ethan couldn't speak. His pulse thudded in his ears. "The governments?" he asked. She nodded. "They made a deal long ago. In exchange for technology they gave up control." Ethan felt the ground vanish under him. "We were sold?" he asked. She looked away. "No. Farmed." The word hit like a thunderclap. Rage rose in Ethan's chest, twisting with disbelief. The invasion wasn't sudden. It was orchestrated. And his bloodline was at the center of it. "Why me?" he whispered. "Because you were built to open the door," she said. The machine shop had hidden more than secrets. It held records, ancient-looking scrolls, and strange artifacts that hummed with energy. Ethan followed his mother through a narrow passage into a vault. "We helped them once," she said. "Then we saw what they truly wanted." The walls were lined with symbols, identical to the ones from the first broadcast. "They planned this from the beginning?" Ethan asked. "Yes," she replied. "Each generation, they marked a carrier." Ethan stepped closer to a glowing console. A handprint identical to his was etched into the surface. "They tracked bloodlines," she added. "Our DNA was coded as a key." Ethan touched the surface. It lit up. "They didn't just invade. They designed this," he said. "They used us to weaken humanity from within." His mother nodded. "And now they're ready to harvest what they planted." Ethan felt anger boiling beneath his fear. "Then let's burn their garden," he said. And with that, something in the machine awoke. As the machine activated, the walls split, revealing a holographic log, videos of shadowy figures meeting with beings cloaked in light. Government officials, military brass, tech moguls. "They called it Project Aegis," his mother said. Ethan watched a clip of a familiar face, a senator he'd seen on the news, shaking hands with an alien. "This can't be real," Ethan muttered. "It's archived from global surveillance arrays," she confirmed. "They built the world's chaos, so no one would notice the quiet invasion." Ethan felt a sickness in his gut. This wasn't a war. It was a game, and humanity was the board. "Who else knows?" he asked. "Only ghosts," she said. "The ones who tried to stop it are already gone." A new image appeared. Ethan as a child, surrounded by doctors, machines, and alien observers. They watched me grow up, he asked, stunned. You were their final prototype, she whispered. The truth crushed him, but there was no time to grieve. The air grew cold. The vault trembled. They know we accessed the archive, his mother warned. Outside, the fog was gone, replaced by stillness. Too still. Ethan and his mother emerged into the city, and it was no longer silent. A humming tone vibrated the pavement. Drones lined the rooftops. People walked in synchronized patterns, their eyes glowing. They've started the merge, she said. Hive state. Ethan's fists clenched. How do we stop it? We find the core node, she replied. And we destroy it. But they weren't alone. A man stood at the edge of the street. Ethan's best friend, Caleb. You shouldn't have come back, Caleb said, his voice not his own. Ethan froze. Caleb. The man stepped forward, features flickering. He's gone, the voice said. I am what remains. Ethan's heart broke. You were family. The thing smiled. Exactly. That's why you trusted me. Betrayal sliced through Ethan like fire. This war wasn't just in the skies. It was inside the people he loved. Ethan didn't speak. He just moved. Lunged forward, dodged Caleb's swipe, and tackled him into a wrecked car. Give him back, Ethan shouted. Caleb laughed with someone else's voice. He wanted to be part of us, it said. He chose evolution. Ethan pinned him down, eyes full of tears and rage. His mother shouted, It's not him anymore. Caleb's form shifted, skin cracking like glass, revealing metallic tendrils beneath. Ethan reeled back as the thing rose, head tilting unnaturally. You cannot win, it said. You were designed to surrender. Ethan stood, fists clenched. Then I'm about to break the design. His mother raised a device. An NP grenade. Now, she shouted. Ethan dove aside as she hurled it. A white flash engulfed the street. Caleb's body shattered into data-like fragments. Silence followed. Ethan stood, trembling, broken, but burning with purpose. The time for running was over. Time to fight had begun. The EMP left behind a strange quiet. Thick, heavy, wrong. Ethan stood over the spot where Caleb had vanished, his fingers trembling. His mother broke the silence. There are more like him, she said. Some you know, some you don't. Ethan turned slowly. How deep does this go? She hesitated, then said, all the way to the core. Presidents, scientists, soldiers. Some weren't born human. The words chilled him. Then how am I supposed to know who to trust? He asked. Her face hardened. You can't, not anymore. A military drone whined above. Ethan pulled her into the shadows. The city was shifting. The people weren't just being controlled, they were being rewritten. This isn't about conquest, he said. It's about evolution. She nodded grimly. And your DNA was the template. His heart pounded in his chest. Why me? Because your blood carries the bridge between them and us, she said. And they've waited generations to activate it. They moved through the ruins of downtown. What was once familiar now felt alien. Storefronts glitched in and out of reality. Time fractured in flashes. The merge is accelerating, she said. Physical and digital barriers are breaking down. Ethan passed a billboard where a face shifted between ads and alien code. They're rewriting the world, he whispered. No, they're restoring it, she replied. This is what Earth was always meant to become. His stomach churned. The idea that humanity had been steered toward this fate made every breath feel like betrayal. A sudden flicker, Ethan saw himself on a giant screen, speaking alien words. That's not me, he gasped. That's what they want people to see, she answered. The image of their perfect leader. His pulse quickened. They're preparing me to take control. She nodded. Not just Earth, the entire network. Ethan's voice cracked. Then I need to break their connection, before I become the thing they want. Inside a ruined subway tunnel beneath the city, they found it. The Nexus Relay. An alien-built transmission node hidden beneath human infrastructure. It pulsed like a living thing. "This is where the signal is strongest," his mother said. Ethan stepped closer. The hum of the machinery resonated in his bones. His blood warmed. The glyphs on the walls responded to his presence, glowing brighter. "They coded it into me," he murmured. "The access key." She nodded. "They never needed to force the invasion. They just needed you to open the door." Rage and horror twisted in his chest. "Then I'll shut it down," he said. She hesitated. "If you try to sever the link, it could kill you." Ethan touched the terminal. His reflection stared back, half human, half code. "Then I'll die on my terms," he said. The glyphs surged. The Nexus began to react, unlocking. All around them the walls trembled. And from deep below, something began to rise. From beneath the Nexus a shape emerged, colossal and shifting, like a biomechanical god. It had no eyes, but Ethan could feel its gaze. "It's the core intelligence," his mother said. "A piece of their original mind." It spoke, but not in sound, in thought. "You are the bridge," it said. "Merge and fulfill your purpose." Ethan's knees buckled. His thoughts bent beneath its presence. It knew everything, his pain, his hopes, his fears. "We were never meant to survive you," he said aloud. "No," it responded. "You were meant to become us." Ethan screamed and slammed his hand into the console, trying to override the connection. It pushed back, hard. The walls shuddered. Light poured from Ethan's chest as the DNA interface ignited. His mother shouted, but her voice faded. Ethan stood between two fates, evolution into a god, or sacrifice to remain human. And with every second, the core pulled harder. Ethan reached deep inside, past the fear, past the manipulation. He saw his childhood, his father's laugh, the feel of rain on his face. Human memories. Real, Tao, untouched. "I am not yours," he said. The core surged with fury. Tendrils of light wrapped around his body, but Ethan screamed and pushed outward. His pulse became a frequency. The glyphs shattered. The chamber cracked. His mother raced forward, grabbing him as he collapsed. The core screamed, not in pain but in rejection. It withdrew, howling into the void as its grip broke. Light erupted through the walls. The Nexus died. The link was severed. Ethan fell to his knees, drained. "You did it," his mother whispered. But as the dust settled, Ethan looked at his trembling hands. "It's not over," he said. "I still feel it, inside me." The core was gone, but a part of it had stayed. Watching, waiting, behind. And it knew Ethan was still the key. The surface world had changed. After severing the Nexus, the sky was no longer just sky. It shimmered like fractured glass. Ethan and his mother emerged to a reality barely holding itself together. Buildings flickered between solid and translucent. Roads shifted. People stared blankly, unaware of the collapse. "We broke the interface," his mother whispered. "But not the code." Ethan touched a building wall. It pixelated under his palm. "We're in a dying simulation," he said. "No," she corrected. "We're in a merging reality. They didn't come to destroy Earth, they came to overwrite it." Ethan's mind raced. "So if we don't reboot the source, this world collapses." She nodded. "Or it becomes theirs permanently." A countdown appeared in the sky. Aero 1856. "They've initiated the full sync," she said. "Once the clock hits zero, humanity as we know it ends." Ethan clenched his jaw. "Then we stop the rewrite." "To do that," she said, "you need to finish what they started." They moved quickly through a reprogramming zone, an area where Earth's core code was weakest. Drones scanned passers-by, converting them with neural pulses. "This way," she said, pulling Ethan into a crumbling server building. Inside, servers pulsed like hearts, powered by alien tech. This is one of their conduits, she explained. A physical processor for the planetary rewrite. Ethan stepped toward the core, a tower of rotating glyphs encased in crystal. It's alive, he said. More than that, she replied. It's thinking. He reached for it, but a sudden surge of light pushed him back. It doesn't recognize you anymore, she warned. You're deviating. Good, Ethan muttered. He looked at the interface and saw his reflection glitching. Half human, half something else. It's fighting me. You'll need to push harder, she said. Harder than they ever imagined. Ethan cracked his knuckles. Let's break their goddamn machine. They descended deeper underground, into Earth's oldest vault, a forgotten structure built before recorded time. What is this place? Ethan asked. It's where the first contact happened, she said. Walls carved in glyphs glowed faintly as they walked. A circular chamber opened before them, revealing a monolithic black obelisk suspended mid-air, humming in resonance with Ethan's presence. It's the anchor, she said. This is what keeps the bridge open. Ethan stepped closer. The air vibrated with memory, visions of war, extinction, and rebirth. If I destroy this, I sever them completely, he asked. Yes, but it'll also sever you. His hand hovered above the surface. Then maybe I was never meant to survive this, he said. She grabbed his wrist. Don't say that. If this ends everything, he said, it has to include me, or they'll just try again. She stepped back, silent. He closed his eyes. The obelisk pulsed with recognition. The obelisk opened like a flower, petals of shadow and light peeling back, revealing a core of pure data. It's giving me a choice, Ethan said. I can merge, or I can erase. His mother's voice shook. If you merge, you'll stop the rewrite but lose yourself. If you erase, you end their presence forever, but you die. Ethan looked at her. What would you do? She stared at him, tears forming. I'd choose freedom, even if it means sacrifice. Ethan reached toward the data core. Then I choose erasure. A blast of white light exploded from the monolith, lifting him into the air. Data wrapped around his body, trying to rewrite him. You are the bridge, the core screamed. Then burn the bridge, Ethan shouted. His body trembled. Pain seared every cell. His mother screamed his name. And then, silence. The monolith began to crumble. Light bled into the cracks of the chamber. Ethan was gone. Silence fell. Then wind. The sky above the world cleared. The countdown vanished. The glitching stopped. Cities began to breathe again. People blinked and awoke from artificial trances. The world was theirs again. The obelisk was gone, nothing left but dust, and a single faint glyph scorched into the stone. His mother knelt by the mark, tears falling. He chose us, she whispered. In the sky clouds shifted, and for a second her reflection shimmered with Ethan's face. She smiled through her tears. Gore was gone. The rewrite failed. But the cost was absolute. Ethan had not saved the world to rule it. He had saved it to give it back. In that silence, Earth finally felt human again. But deep in the stars, a distant signal flickered. Watching. Watch. Waiting. Because peace never lasts. But heroes echo forever. Ethan awoke. Not in the ruins, not on Earth, but somewhere else. He stood in an endless void, filled with stars suspended in unnatural stillness. His body felt light, almost unbound. Am I dead? He asked. A voice answered. Not his mother's, not the core's, but his own. You are in the between. Images flickered across the starlight. Earth restored, Earth consumed, Earth reborn. You broke the link, but you became part of it, the voice said. What are you? Ethan asked. I am the possibility, it said. The version of you that accepted evolution. Ethan turned, seeing his reflection stepping out of the void, another Ethan, emotionless, glowing with alien circuitry. You didn't destroy the rewrite, the echo said. You paused it. Ethan clenched his fists. Then I finish it now. Not without consequence, the other replied. There's one final command left to you. Lead or delete. The void pulsed. And Ethan knew. The final choice wasn't about power. It was about identity. The alternate Ethan spoke again, stepping closer. You carry their potential, their will. You're not just a human anymore. Ethan looked at his hands, his veins faintly glowing, pulsing like digital code. They rewrote part of me, he said. No, his echo replied. They revealed what you've always been. Images surged in the sky, memories of Ethan's ancestors, all manipulated, all marked. You are the final branch of a design seeded before Earth's first civilization, the echo continued. You could guide humanity to what they feared, order, but at what cost? Ethan snapped. Freedom? Emotion? Love? They called it noise. His reflection said. You call it life. Ethan took a step back. I know who I am, then prove it, the echo challenged. Give up the code, delete what remains. But understand, you may not survive it. Ethan stared into his double's eyes, heart steady. Then I'll die human. The void pulsed again. The final test had begun. Ethan's hands began to tremble. The choice wasn't just theoretical, it was becoming physical. His body flickered between organic and synthetic. Erase or ascend, the voice echoed. Erase or ascend. Each word carved deeper into him. In his mind, he saw two futures. In one, humanity survived under his rule, structured, orderly, soulless. In the other, he was gone, but free will thrived again. I won't be their tool, he said through gritted teeth. The code inside him pulsed violently. But I can't do this alone. Then, like a memory summoned from the ether, his mother appeared, her voice soft, grounding. You never were alone, she said. You were just waiting to choose. He placed his hand on his chest. The light intensified. I choose chaos, Ethan whispered. I choose freedom. With that, he let go. The synthetic code began to collapse. His alternate form screamed, dissolving into scattered particles. The void shuddered, and Ethan fell. Ethan crashed back into reality, gasping, coughing, alive. The sun had risen over Earth. The glitch had stopped. The skies were whole again. The world had stabilized. But his body was changed. Glowing veins faded slowly, leaving scars across his arms. He looked around the ruins of the obelisk chamber, now filled with natural light. Birds sang. Air moved. Real life had returned. His mother stood in the distance, real this time, watching. You came back, she said. Barely, Ethan replied, voice hoarse. You made the right choice, she said. You reminded the world who we are. Ethan stepped forward, limping slightly. But I still feel it, he said. Like something inside me didn't fully erase. She touched his shoulder. Some fragments remain, she said. But they're yours now. You control them. Not the other way around. Ethan nodded, eyes toward the horizon. The war was over. But the recovery was only just beginning. Ethan sat alone that evening, atop a broken rooftop, watching the city lights flicker back to life. People were rebuilding, slowly, fearfully, but together. The air smelled like smoke and hope. He pulled the hood over his head, eyes scanning the stars. Somewhere out there, echoes of the core still lingered. But Earth was no longer theirs. I didn't save the world, he whispered. I gave it back to itself. His calm buzzed, a message from a rebel cell. They're rallying again, it read. They want you to lead. He stared at it, expression unreadable. Then he turned off the device. No more leaders, he said. Only people. A comet streaked across the sky. He smiled faintly. Ethan wasn't a savior. He was a scar. A reminder. Proof that humanity could choose chaos, choose pain, and still stand tall. The war had ended. But the future? That was now Earth's to write. And Ethan, he would simply walk alongside it. Reconstruction had begun. Cities once flickering between reality and illusion were stabilizing. People no longer feared the sky. And yet unease lingered in every corner. Power was back. But trust? That would take longer. Ethan moved through the wreckage in silence. No longer a leader, not quite a ghost. People recognized him but said nothing. Not out of disrespect, but reverence. His face was etched into history, part savior, part weapon. He didn't smile. He didn't want to be remembered. He only wanted to be real. A child passed him, holding a paper with the glyph of the Corps scribbled across it. "Do you know what this means?" the child asked. Ethan knelt down, looked her in the eye and said, "It means you still have a choice." She nodded, unsure, then ran off. Ethan stood slowly, watching her go. The world had been handed back. But how it was held, fragile or firm, would define the next age. And the clock was already ticking again. Deep beneath the earth, where the last fragments of alien technology had been sealed, a quiet signal pulsed. Unnoticed by satellites, invisible to scanners, it waited. Engineers working for the Global Alliance surveyed the containment vaults. "It's dormant," one said. "But should we destroy it?" another asked. The answer came from a third, much older, standing in the shadows. "No, you never destroy what you don't fully understand." In that dark room, the black cube sat silently, its surface still humming faintly. On one of its panels, Ethan's face flickered in grainy projection, data residue from the final rewrite. One engineer stared. "Is that him?" No one responded. The signal was quiet, but alive. Elsewhere in the world, people were beginning to dream strange things, visions of stars and static. The war was over, yes, but its artifacts remained, and not all who carried the alien code had chosen to erase it. Some were waiting. In a remote mountain village, disconnected from the world's networks, Ethan found something he didn't expect: peace. A quiet cabin. Trees. Cold wind. No screens. And no static. Just silence and snow. Say, none you. He chopped wood with hands that once pulsed with godlike power. No one here knew what he'd done. No one asked. And that was why he stayed. He wasn't hiding. He was healing. One evening, he stood by the frozen lake, staring at his reflection. The scars on his skin had faded, but not the ones in his mind. "You still there?" he whispered to the stillness. There was no answer. But in the calm, he didn't need one. "I made the right choice," he said. A raven passed overhead, its wings slicing through the fading sunlight. Ethan smiled. The past was not forgotten, but neither was it in control. He'd found a sliver of something sacred. Not redemption. He wasn't sure he deserved that. But something close, rest. But peace never lasts forever. A message arrived one night, hand-delivered, unmarked envelope. Inside, a photograph. A satellite image showing alien structures forming in orbit around Saturn. No note. No signature. Just coordinates. Ethan stared at it long after the fire had gone out. He knew what it meant. "They're not done," he whispered. His mother's words echoed in his memory. "This isn't over. It's just the beginning." Ethan packed slowly. No weapons. Just his father's watch and the coordinates. He stepped outside. Snow fell silently. Above, the stars blinked like ancient warnings. The war had ended, but the game had not. Humanity had won the first round. But round two was coming, and this time, the battlefield would be far beyond Earth. Ethan pulled up his hood. "All right," he said quietly. "Let's see what's next." Then he vanished into the trees, just a shadow against a world not yet finished writing its story. Far above Earth, in the black between stars, a massive alien vessel stirred. Its hull bore ancient scars. Its systems had slept for centuries. But now, as one last command flickered into activation, it began to wake. Lights traced alien glyphs across the surface. Inside, humanoid figures uncoiled from stasis, fluid draining, eyes opening. The signal from Earth had been cut, but its echo had reached them. One figure stepped forward, taller than the rest, its face unreadable behind dark biotech armor. It looked toward a central screen where Ethan's final act played on loop. Then, for the first time in millennia, it spoke. Bridge compromised. Adaptation required. Outside, the ship shifted course, toward Earth. The stars reflected off its black surface like 1,000 unblinking eyes. This wasn't a rescue. It wasn't vengeance. It was Phase 2. And this time, they weren't coming to invade. They were coming to evolve. Earth had won the battle. But the war had only just begun.